I can put it in the bun. I got my edges back. What's up, you guys? It is your girl Nakia Symone. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You're going to want to stick around for a little while, girl. Today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I achieved this very versatile quick weave. This was my first time doing a quick weave and it turned out really well, so I decided to show the girls how to put themselves together. It's very versatile. You can put it up in a ponytail, you can put it in a bun, and I can put it in a bun. I can put it in a bun. I got my edges back. But yes, so you can put it in a ponytail. I got the back up. Do not judge me for how my kitchen looked because I can't see back there and I know it looked a mess. Okay? But I did leave hair out in the back so I could put it up in a ponytail if I want. Of course, if I actually do put it up in a ponytail, I'm going to fix my kitchen first. But I can probably finesse a half up, half down if I really wanted to, because I could wear this probably like a flip over method. You know how the girls be, you know how the girls do one of these little numbers. I could do one of them if I wanted. You can put the hair behind your ear, poo, because no tracks detected. It's giving very much Microlink, poo. So yeah, I'm going to show you guys how to do your own quick weave at home because it's 2022. We need to be able to know how to get ourselves together, okay? But this is my first time doing my own quick weave at home and I'm just really surprised at how it came out. So I'm glad that I recorded it. This particular hair is from UNICE.com. I got 4 bundles, 2 28s and 2 26s, but I ended up cutting it here. So it comes about right here to my waist, so it's still pretty long, but I ended up cutting it a little bit in layers so that it can look a little more natural and full. And I still actually have, it almost looks like I have like a bundle left. I actually reused this hair because I had it sewn in my first video that I have on my channel. I had this same hair in, but I had a side part that was a sew-in. I actually used the same hair, so I've reused it. UNICE has really good hair and it's affordable, and they have Afterpay boo. And this video is not sponsored. I'm just putting the girls on because that's what I do. I'm not stingy with the tea, okay? Spring is here, which means that summer is going to soon come tumbling after, which means that we need to save as much coin as we can. And we're going to start with the hair because I know I'll be spending about a good $600 on getting my hair done. Weave be $400, then it'd be $200 to get it sewn in, okay? That's money that we can spend on a trip. That's money that we can spend on going out to eat. That's money that we can spend on clothes and shoes for the summertime. So, let's save our coin. Oh, I'm still gonna go to the salon, baby, for that sew-in. But, to know how to do this quick weave when I ain't trying to spend my little $600 on getting my hair done, boo, it's elite. So, if you want to see how to achieve your own versatile quick weave from home, make sure you keep on watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you learned something, and I'm going to continue to push these hair videos out so we can save some coin. But let me stop chit-chatting. Let's get into the video. Alright, y'all, I finally cut off all of my heat damage, so healthy hair Kia. But anyway, I decided on the middle part. So right here, I am just making small sections beside my part that is going to cover the track. And I just want to make sure that both of them are even, the same amount of hair on each side of the part. Okay, and once you got a good amount of hair left out for your leave out in the middle, you want to go ahead and secure it away. I prefer to go ahead and braid it down so that I can feel the braid through my cap when I start to glue the tracks down. Alright, and then I left a small section out all the way around the perimeter. So what works for me for my edges, I just did right before my ear, and I just pulled it back to make sure it was enough hair to cover a track. And that's how I determined what was enough hair and what wasn't. I secured this away because I wanted to make sure that I pull out the same amount all the way around my head. So I just put it in a rubber band, but I am going to end up braiding it all together, so that way when I put the cap on, I can feel the braids and know which part not to put tracks on. It was a little hard for me to make my part straight in the back. I just grabbed another mirror and did my best. It doesn't have to be perfect, however, because you just want to make sure that it's just enough amount of hair to cover your tracks. So I ended up braiding all of the leave out into one braid so that I know which part is my leave out when I put my cap on, so you'll see. I don't know where this superpower came from, y'all. This is my first time doing braids on my hair. I literally just separated into 3 and just kept adding hair in. So just try your best, y'all. Even my braids that I do under my foundation wasn't the best, but it worked, y'all. Just try to make it as flat as you can. Y'all gonna see. Okay, so I put my leave out into a little bantu knot so I can get it out the way. And we're going to start on our braids that are going to be under the cap that we're going to be putting our tracks on top of. Now, I did about 6 braids and they were kind of big, but I tried to make them as tight as I can and as neat as I can. Again, this is my first time doing braids on myself, so if you don't know how, just try. Separate it into 3 and just keep adding hair into it. So if you can see, I just take a small section, put it into 3, and as I braid, I take my index finger to grab some more hair and keep adding it in. And whatever I did on one side, I made sure to go ahead and do it on the other side so that my braids can be even and as flat as possible. Alright, and I'm not going to bore y'all with the repetition, so I pretty much did the same thing for the last couple of braids. But I do want to show y'all that when I was doing my braids, as I was braiding it down, I added in the piece that was hanging for the other braid. So I'm going to show y'all exactly what I mean. But basically, I pulled the braid up and I added it into my braid. You can see here, I'm pulling it into the braid and braided it down so that way I can get rid of the pieces that were hanging. Okay, so I'm going to fold the last 2 braids and I'm going to take a needle and thread and sew them to the top of the braids so that way those 2 pieces are secured and ready to go under the cap. In no particular formation where you're sewing these braids down to the top, you just want to try to get them to stay so that they're not hanging down. So I was pretty much sticking the needle anywhere, but it worked, boo. So this is how they ended up turning out, y'all. It's giving very much gel braids. It's giving very much hard knock life. Like, it's just, I really thought I was doing something, but it worked, y'all. Nobody's gonna see the braids anyway, so it doesn't matter. A cap and tracks is about to go on top of that. Caution, before you spray got to be on these braids, make sure you oil your scalp because my hair was itching literally like 4 days later from this got to be spray. So oil your scalp first, and then I put the got to be spray on so that when I put my scalp on, it kind of sticks a little bit. Okay, and I used a white little makeup pencil. This is a NYX Jumbo pencil in milk. And I'm basically just going to outline where my leave out is. So I'm looking through the cap and I'm just drawing a line so that I know where not to put tracks at, you guys. So I basically did that all the way around my head so I know where my tracks should start and end. Y'all, when I lifted this cap up and saw that makeup pencil went through onto my hair, I was distraught. But I just rubbed it out, so it was okay. But make sure y'all use a light hand if y'all use that particular pencil, but just use a regular one if you can. Okay, and I got this protective shield from the beauty supply. It's supposed to act as a barrier between the glue and tracks in your hair. So it's supposed to protect it from the glue. So once you wet it, it's pretty much supposed to just come right off. So I'll leave the name of that in the description box. I won't know if it worked really well until I take my hair down, but it seems like it would act as a good barrier. I laid it on very thickly, and you have to make sure that this stuff is completely dry, like I mean completely dry, before you start to lay your tracks on with the glue, or it won't stick. So I have blow dried it for a really long time. Okay, and this stuff can get messy, so you just want to be careful with it and make sure you stay inside of your white lines. Alright, and this is how it looked when it was dry. So now I'm going to start to size my tracks to the back of my head. And I'm going to start with my first track right above my white line. I was double checking to make sure that it was dry before I started to lay my tracks. I also like to blow dry the track a little bit once I put the glue on, just so that it can be easier to stick. But yeah, you see I'm going straight above my white line, and I just did a few tracks. I try to do at least 2 or 3 around the same size, maybe a little bit longer on the edges. And you want to lay your tracks in kind of like a really wide U shape. You kind of want them to curve up, so that way when you pull it up into a ponytail, you can't see any of the tracks. But I'll show you guys as you keep watching. Right, and as I said, this is reused hair, so I had to go through and flat iron mine, you know, killing 2 birds in 1 stone. Okay, and I'm just laying the tracks kind of close together in like a U shape, kind of like a smile. It should look like a smile in the back of your head, but pretty much just keep lining them up, cutting them, you know, sizing them up, putting them next to the first track, and just making it a little bit longer each time on the edges, kind of bringing it up. So you should basically be laying your tracks like in the shape of a smile. So your tracks, the way they are laid, it should look like a really wide U or like a smile. Alright, and just remember that each track should be just a tiny bit longer. So you'll notice when you start to get to the front, because you have to keep making it a little bit longer and a little bit longer each time you lay a track. So it should become a little bit easier once you get to like the middle of your head. Alright, and if you're making your tracks close together, you shouldn't see anything when you lift the hair up. So they should be really neat. It should look really easy to blend when you lift it up. And for those longer tracks, y'all, just ball it up in your hand like a bunch of flowers, and that's how I was putting the glue on. So that's what I'm showing y'all here. So y'all see when I pull it back, you can't see the tracks. It's because I laid it close together and I'm pulling them up to the edge. I'm getting higher and higher and pulling them in as I go up. So just keep making that U shape or smile shape, kind of making your edges tilt in and that's what'll make it look seamless when you pull it up. Okay, so it got to a point where I had pulled the track in a little bit too much. You can see that track right there is already covering my white line. So I kind of just went behind it and I started to make more of a tighter U shape. So just make sure you don't go over that white line, because again, remember that is your leave outs. Alright, and I noticed that the back was starting to look a little sparse, so I made some tracks to fit, especially in that smaller spot back there, so I can start bringing my U to a close. And I put my last and final track right on top of the white line, because I am going to cut off the rest of the cap, and I want to make sure that it's tight and laid down so that it doesn't pop off. Alright y'all, so this is as far as I'm gonna go with the tracks, and it turned out pretty good. It was pretty seamless. As you can see when I pull it up, you can't see any tracks. It looks really good. But this one side, I guess I wasn't curving them in enough to my line, so I ended up having to add a track or two in the front so that when I pull it back you can't see that space. Alright, so now it's time to cut the cap off. So it's better to go straight down the middle, and then once the edges lift up, you can just go around right before your track and cut that off. You do have to do it all the way around your head. Just be careful. Remember, your leave out is there, your braid, so you don't want to cut any of your hair. So just pull it out when you cut it, and be careful. Use another mirror behind you if you can. Alright girl, once you cut all your cap off, it's time to do your victory dance, because those were all the hard parts. Everything from here is pretty much easy. You just take your leave out braids down and flat iron the hair and put some edge control on and style your hair. Alright, and then I decided to add a few layers to mine in the front just because I decided that I was going to curl it. I didn't really want to leave it straight. So I added some loose curls to it, but I just kind of went down the front of the hair and kind of layered it. Starting from my natural hair all the way down, just cut it a little bit. Alright, and I'm not an expert at curling hair. I'm actually using my flat iron to curl. But my method is just to curl away from the face, so I just flip it back. And then I let the curl cool in my hand before I drop it, just so that it lasts a little bit longer. So I'm just going to put a little edge control on and we're pretty much done. Alright, and this is the Organics like shine spray. I just sprayed 2 pumps in my hand and kind of ran it through to get rid of the flyaways. But I don't want to put too much directly on the hair because I don't want it to weigh it down or make it oily. I'm just showing y'all the coverage, and like I said, this was my first time doing my own quick weave, and I'm proud of me. It turned out really, really well. So this was me just playing around with it, y'all, putting it up in the bun and all type of stuff. But yeah, y'all can do it. Really, really cute. Like, look at me. I feel like a Spanish. I feel like a Puerto Rican in this hair. Okay, what that TikTok say? But yeah, y'all, that's pretty much it. I was just playing around with it, but it turned out really, really well. So. Alright, you guys, so that is pretty much it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something, girl. Go ahead, order your weave, girl. Get you a cap, all the products that I mentioned in this video, and do it yourself. Rewatch this video as many times as you need to. You can put yourself together, girl. You got to know how to do something to yourself if you need to go somewhere and you can't get in the chair with your stylist, okay? Because it's not that hard, people. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.